We're back again, everybody, with another episode of Get Decked. There's the slap noise. This is the series where I open an Elite Trainer box, or only 9 packs of a Pokemon TCG set. We've been running through the Scarlet and Violet era, so we started with the base set, we've worked our way up, and we are finally ready for Shrouded Fable. Now, this set is very iffy in the hearts and minds of the people, but I mess with it. I like it. It's a cool set, and it's not a huge set, so the playable cards that are in there, I have a better likelihood of getting. I also thought I wouldn't get raked over the coals by Twilight Masquerade, and I did. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm just going to expect nothing, therefore I won't be disappointed. But being real for a sec, this is episode 9. You need to go in the description and find the link to the playlist, and you're gonna watch the first 8 videos like everyone else. Then you're gonna come back and you're gonna know what's going on. Just as a side note, I am like clinging to consciousness, just barely. The only thing that's helped me get through this day are the 2 McChickens and the Sour Patch Kids that I murked on my way home from work, and this box. So I'm looking forward to getting into it, getting the recording done. But I'm running out of gas, everybody. I'm running out of gas. But hey, if you've watched us before, you know that what we do here, we rip our 9 packs, we take a look at what can go into the deck, we introduce a new deck profile, I explain what's going out of the deck, what's going in, and why. We play test it against various different decks against my son, and then I give it a final grade based on consistency, power, and synergy. Last video, here's a picture of what the deck looked like. You can pause and take a look for a minute if you want to. But our consistency ended off at a 7.5 out of 10. Our power is still sitting at 6 out of 10. And our synergy is also at 7.5 out of 10 for a total of 21 points out of 30. 10 out of 10s being like a tournament ready deck, and 0 out of 10 being like it doesn't work. So we're getting up there, but we still have a way to go before this deck is considered like, on par with the meta. And maybe we won't get there, that's the fun of finding out. That's been the journey. So I'm gonna stop blabbing because I'm running on empty. We're gonna open these packs and we'll move on from there. All right, before we rip the packs, there's your code card for the ETB, the sleeves, and all that. And we have our promo card, which is actually not tournament legal right now. At the time of like the World's Tournament and stuff a couple weeks ago, Elite Trainer boxes hadn't officially been released in the United States. So our Petrarunt here was not a legal card. It's cool if I pull enough of the Loyal 3 Pokemon, then maybe Petrarunt can get in the deck. Maybe it's too cheesy because it's not legal. But it's a cool card, it looks cool. I like that they're kind of bringing poison into the meta, or they're trying to anyway. But we'll see. But anyway, there's the promo. Enough blabbing. But if you've never watched the channel before, shame on you for not listening and going to watch the previous videos. But I'm Bad Luck Brett. This is what I do for fun. Alright, we got Dartrix, Absol, Houndoom, Rowlet, 06 Machinations. I mean, 06 is good, but not in my deck. Not right now, anyway. We got Crobat, Janine's Secret Art. That could be good with Roaring Moon. The Academy at Night, and Zoroark. And Tapu Bulu. Alright, it's alright, just 1 pack. But yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about what I want from the set. If it shows up, it shows up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm just gonna live with it. But yeah, so I'm exhausted right now. I know I mentioned it in the intro. I run an after-school program, and we recently relocated, and I like just adjusting to the new program has been crazy. And it's the first week of school, so like double crazy. It's just a wild week. We got a Power Glass, which is a good one, a Slitherwing, a Celia, another Slitherwing, wow, and Haxorus. But just trying to convey how exhausted I am. It's Thursday night at the time of recording. I've already put in over 40 hours, and I'm putting in like 8 more tomorrow. It's just one of those weeks. Camera, you gotta get with the program here. Having a lot of camera issues here, but here we are. All right, we got Fracture, Persian, Dusclops, Meowth, the Iron Moth, the Slitherwing, Cassiopeia, another Iron Moth, another Absol, and there it is. That's what I wanted. I wanted the Fez, and I got the Fez. So, Fezandipity EX is fantastic because of its flip the script ability. If I have a Pokemon get knocked out the turn before, I just get to draw 3 cards. Not only that, but I can use some of the methods to accelerate energy from Roaring Moon on Fezandipity and possibly snipe something on the bench with its attack. It's not overpowered, but great support Pokemon. That's a big one that I wanted to cross off the list on this opening. There are a couple more cards that I'm looking for, but I'm still not gonna fucking say it, because I will just sorely be disappointed. My camera's being all weird. I mean, Wi-Fi hiccup. But hey, Absol, Houndoom, Rowlet, Fracture, Colress's Tenacity, Binding Mochi, Decidueye, Duskull, Decidueye again, and Copperajah. Nothing really noteworthy there. Another thing to notice, this set is tiny. There are, 64 cards in the main set, which makes it very easy to get duplicates. There are only like 6 regular EXs in the set, not including full arts and stuff. There's only 3 A specs. Super small set, not a lot of secret rares. Like, I guess the pull rates for higher rarity cards aren't good, but to complete the main 64, like get all the EXs and get all the rares, uncommons and stuff, it doesn't seem very hard. We've got Zorua, Houndour, Varoom, Toxicroak, another Academy, Galvantula, Kyurem is making a big deal, Stuffle, Zorua, and Ursaluna. And I also, the Hollow Energies, again, specialty set, Hollow Energies, I guess that's the thing they're doing. I love these energies. Like, I want to pull enough of these energies to be able to make a deck entirely out of them. Probably end up having to buy those off TCG Player. Like, that's just not a realistic thing to pull 12 from Psychic Energy or something. But hey, we have 3 packs left, 4 including the one in my hand. We have Persian, Dusclops, Meowth, Zorua, the Iron Moth, another Zerosix, another Kyurem, another Janine, which I might take, Axew, and Tapu Bulu again. So, when you look past our Fezandipity, not a lot of good cards in here. But again, still a couple things I'm looking for. Alright, we've got another Duskull. Plenty of Duskulls and Dusclops. Oh. I think there's gold. Hold your phone. Alright. Everyone fucking stay calm. Duskull. Beware. You got Inkay. Drowsy. The Night Stretcher. That's what I wanted. Happy. Night Stretcher. Decidueye. Colress's Tenacity. We got Varoom. Oh my god. thought it could have been like the Earthen Vessel, or I don't know what other gold cards are in here, like the Rescue Board. That would have been such a flex. But it's the fucking energy. Oh, dumb. So dumb. I'm more excited about the Night Stretcher. Because this is just like, I can take an energy right back into my hand if I need an attachment for turn. If I have Gardevoir get knocked out and I have another ult on my bench, I can just pick it back up. Oh, I'm forgetting the sleeve. So, we're down to 2 packs. We got a gold, which is not what I expected. Either you get what you ask for or you don't, you know. There's always the 50-50 chance. I guess if you want to call that 50-50, I guess it depends on what you're asking for there. Anyway, our 8th Houndour, our 17th Varoom, another Toxicroak, another Duskull, another Academy at Night. We got Weavile, ooh, yep. Second Night Stretcher, Persian, Crobat, Ursaluna, and another Darkness, a Hollow Darkness Energy. So, we're on our last pack here. Only 2 hits, only an EX and a gold card. Again, I know the higher rarities are tough to pull out of Shrouded Fable, but this is disappointing. I don't know if my expectations are too high to get more than 2 pulls in an ETB, but I feel like that's not unreasonable to ask for like 3 or 4. 3 anyway, you know, 3 consistently seems good. Alright, camera. You here? Here we are. We got Joltik, Horsey, Qfont, Eevee, Hypno, another Xerosic, Malamar, another Polaris, Ursaluna, and alright, see, here we got some last pack magic. It's the Xerosic's full art. Not helpful, but I mean, you don't pass up a full art, you know, and I think Xerosic will end up being a pretty pivotal card in the meta eventually. I think just that much hand disruption, it makes your opponent discards until they have 3 cards left in their hand. Like, that level of hand disruption isn't gonna go unchecked for 3 years. Like, we will see Xerosic come to power. That's it for the packs. Definitely a few cards are going in, and I have an idea of a few that are coming out, but as always, I'm going to take a look at every last card that I pulled and see if there's something we can sneak in. After I come to you with a new deck profile, we're going to get into some playtesting, and then we can finally give it a final grade. This deck profile took a little more time than typical. We're just reaching a point where every card in the deck kind of has a purpose, unless we just pivot our plan, you know, slightly enough to negate the use of some cards, or to no longer need those cards in the deck. But also in this session, I kind of had to go back and look at some of the cards I pulled previously. I know there was one I mentioned in the last video in my scoring that I probably should have used. So that's going in. But overall, we have 7 cards going in, and we have 7 going out. Here's what we got. Coming out of the deck, we've got one of our 2 Screamtails, our Noibat and Noivern EX, just no longer having the bench space with what's going in. We're trading out Poppy, Miriam, our Energy Retrieval, and our TM Devo. So TM Devo I don't think has been used once in the whole series. Like, I've tried to line it up a couple times, but it just made more sense to attack and take a knockout. Energy Retrieval is good, but with a Super Rod and 2 Night Stretchers soon to be in the deck, as well as Gardevoir's ability not needing energy recycled, I don't need it. Same with Miriam. Really just don't need to recycle Pokemon as aggressively if I have a Super Rod and 2 Night Stretchers. And Poppy is going to be replaced with Janine. So, ironically enough, we have a similar card count, like 3 Pokemon going out, 2 going in. 2 supporters going out, 2 going in. The only difference is we have 3 items going in when only 2 are coming out. Going into the deck, as you all can expect, we got Fez, And I actually tossed the Cresselia in here. So the Cresselia, for 1 energy, heals 20 from all my Pokemon. Like, who cares? 3 energy though, I can accelerate this easy with Gardevoir. 3 energy, I can turn one of my face down prize cards face up, and if I do 80 more damage. So that's hitting for 160. With so many 1-ofs in this deck, I have 1 Gardevoir, I have 1 Roaring Moon, I have 1 Pheasantipity, I have 1 Iron Bundle. There are so many cards that I could have prized that I don't have another one of in the deck. If I can start hitting with Cresselia, I can prioritize different prizes if I know I need something big. I think it's worth putting in there. It's worth a try. This is not going to be a card that you're going to see in the best decks in the format in Worlds next year. It is a card that will help me search out some of my 1-ofs if they're prized. But along with that, we've got 2 copies of Janine's Secret Art, which again allows me to search my deck for 2 basic dark energies and attach it to 2 different basic dark Pokemon. If one is in the active, it poisons it, but this helps me accelerate an extra energy per turn of Roaring Moon. 2 Night Stretchers lets me take a Pokemon or an energy from my discard right in my hand. The Night Stretchers are kind of the reason I felt okay taking out one of my Screamtails. And again, the energy retrieval, like, this is a good safety net, especially with Arven in the deck. Feels good. And then finally, our rescue board is coming in from our Twilight Masquerade opening. Tatsugiri got stuck in the active, I think twice in the playtest last week. The rescue board will prevent that, like very literally. So it's a good tool to have. I can search it out with Arven. Kind of a no-brainer at this point. With that though, it is 10:30 at night. I'm gonna sleeve up the cards and maybe edit clips for a few minutes, but I'm going to bed. My son's asleep. We're not playtesting tonight. We'll get to that tomorrow, probably. Into the playtesting we go. We've actually got 3 pretty good games for y'all today. My son and I both took some time to revamp our Roaring Moon decks. So my son's kind of got like an Ancient Box deck, pretty much focused on Roaring Moon with the Dunsparce Draw Engine, and it works pretty well. But cutting a few turns into the game, my son's got his Fluttermane out in the active, but here you see Arven come to the rescue with a rescue board and get enough energy onto Gardevoir to take the knockout and get the game going. The problem here is my son comes back with Roaring Moon, hits Gardevoir for weakness, and puts me right back at square one. You'll see in these 3 games, I mean, I guess you won't see it, you'll just hear me explain it, but I took some opportunities to try to coach my son through his deck with the sequencing, trying to figure out what to play and when, and how to string the best possible turns together. It wasn't perfect. I kind of coached him through the end of game 1 and also a little bit in game 3, but ultimately he's gotten pretty good at the deck after having played a few more games off camera. But back to the gameplay, you'll see Tatsugiri once again comes through, gives me Iono, and allows me to continue playing a supporter pretty much each turn now that Fluttermane is no longer blocking its ability. My son, however, is able to continue drawing with Dunsparce's runaway draw ability and continue attacking with Roaring Moon, really kind of keeping me behind. You know, I have to kind of claw my way back into this one. And especially with the boss's orders to take out Pheasantipity. But lucky for me, I just built a deck with 2 Night Stretchers. So I throw both Night Stretchers down, I get my Pheasantipity back and my Gardevoir. I'm able to use the Flip the Script ability and Rare Candy my Ralts on the bench back to Gardevoir, and I am right back where I started. play an Iono for a fresh hand, or half of a fresh hand with only 3 cards. But I'm ultimately able to retreat because of my rescue board. And finally, to end my turn, I'm able to come up with Roaring Moon. I end up gouging to kind of circumvent my son's survival brace and get the KO while leaving my Roaring Moon grievously injured. And here, in the subsequent turn, I play an Ultra Ball, get my Rev of Room out, get some energies out of the deck with an Earthen Vessel, so I can use Rev of Room's ability, drawing myself some cards, just seeing more of the deck to see what I can do here. And there's the Artisan, which sets me up for a Calamity Storm hitting for 220, leaving my son's Roaring Moon with 10 hit points remaining. And here's where the first scenario where I coach him through, where he basically understands that he needs to take 2 prizes, but if he uses a Frenzied Gouging, he ends the game in a tie. So he needs to accelerate energies, which he finds through Janine. He's able to bench Dunsparce. And here, to end the game, even though his Roaring Moon is poisoned, he's able to take the knockout, winning the game, and then after that turn would end, the Roaring Moon would be knocked out by poison. So it does not end in a tie. Yes, I checked the ruling on that one. Moving into game 2. We're a couple turns in, and I'm already set up with my Ralts and Varoom like I usually am. I've got Screamtail in the active, but it's what I started with. It doesn't have any damage counters on it, so it's not swinging for any damage yet. Meanwhile, my son's got a Roaring Moon EX and one of the Baby Moons, as well as his 2 Dunsparce ready to go. But not much time passes before I've got Gardevoir and Rev of Room, and I'm getting energies into the discard onto Screamtail and starting to swing for damage. And here, we go back and forth through most of the game, but my Screamtail hits the discard. I draw, I bring up my Roaring Moon, and I'm just able to use Frenzied Gouging to end the game, taking game 2. There weren't many good highlights in the game, but it was a good battle, and again, came down to the last couple prizes on the last turn. Finally, in game 3, my son switches to his Giratina V-Star deck, which is a very different playstyle. And here, again, Arvin, the MVP of the deck, coming through with a rescue board and the rare candy, and just like that, we have Pheasantipity on the bench, we have Gardevoir, we've got Fluttermane, and we're soon going to have our Rev of Room. We take our Tatsugiri out of the active for free, use Hex Hurl, put 20 damage onto Cramorant, knocking out the active Comfey. Moving ahead a little bit again, we're a couple turns further into the game. My bench state more or less looks the same, but my son's got a Giratina with a lot of damage on it, and our prize trade is pretty equal at this point, with me having 4 prizes left and my son having 3. But I'm able to flip the script, draw a full hand, and finish off my son's Giratina with Screamtail, leaving me with 2 prizes to his 3. Here, my son has the difficulty of knowing that he needs to take prizes each turn to be able to stay in the race. And this is where I start kind of coaching him through that decision. He knows he needs to get a knockout with Blood Moon, but he actually played Roxanne early in the turn, and so he's not able to use the boss's orders to gust something like Roaring Moon or Gardevoir that was going to be able to finish the game. And here, he just takes out the Screamtail. I promote Roaring Moon, fully energized. And that's the game. It's late. I'm freaking tired, but the deck is just still improving. Like, I didn't put anything really game-breaking in there, and I didn't take anything that bad out, but the deck is still making strides. The Night Stretchers were a huge help. The rescue board was a big difference. Pheasantipity obviously is probably second to none right now, draw power in the format. I don't know, like, the last couple episodes haven't felt like huge jumps, and they weren't big jumps. I thought this would feel like another small step, but it's actually, I think it's kind of crazy. Like, I am very surprised by how good the deck felt. It's still not like overwhelmingly powerful. I'm still dealing with 1 to 2 of every card except for like Arvin and Ultra Ball. But it's still getting better. It's still just consistent. It's still working the same way almost every time. So, as for like a grade, it's hard to keep it where it even was last episode. I think the consistency gets another half point. I think consistency, we've made it to 8 out of 10. I think power, we're still at 6 out of 10. I don't know what it's going to take to get power up. Just doing more damage with single prize Pokemon maybe. Just creating bigger threats on the board than just using Gardevoir and Roaring Moon. And I think the synergy also goes up to 8. Again, the Night Stretchers, the rescue board, everything just friggin' cooked. So, I don't know. I'm super excited. I don't know. So, if we're going with 8, 6, and 8, I mean, it's my series. They're my scores. Like, I do what I want. I can give it 31 out of 30 if I really wanted to. Just trying to be reasonable. But, math is hard. What? 16? It's 22 out of 30. If we go consistency 8, power 6, synergy 8, we're at 22 out of 30. I would love to see Stellar Crown bring us to like 25 out of 30, but I think that's kind of a lofty expectation at this point. We've kind of reached a point in the series where unless I pull something that totally changes the way I want to build this deck, we're only going to have a couple cards in and a couple cards out from this point on. But the good news is I've got something else cooking down the line. I've got an announcement coming up soon, and I'm super excited for that. So, if you've watched to this point, thank you, as always. The few of you that do watch to the very end, like, you guys are the real ones. If this is your first time checking out the series, thank you. You know, even if you didn't get to this point, and you're not here to get my thank you, thanks for watching the video. But, see you in a few weeks with Stellar Crown. Until then, I don't know, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Do what you want. Bye.